Does the book summarize the 10 chapters in a nutshell?
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. David Chukwas.
Interesting. There is so much there. I was still taking it in, and again, I just want to say a very big thank you to Professor David Luke for taking the time to go through all those chapters. I imagine there was a lot of talking, but I was just thinking from the perspective of my own research, and I was trying to situate with the discussion about the contribution of traditional knowledge, the contribution of indigenous knowledge systems, and how they can help bolster production in Africa. And I was just curious to hear what Professor Dr. David Luke thinks about that, because I mean, one of the arguments that are indeed advanced are that in as much as we modern science, or what I term it within the context of my own research, Western scientific knowledge is indeed important and has contributed a lot. In as much as agricultural production is concerned, there is a notable need for African countries to take the integration of indigenous knowledge systems quite seriously. I don't know what would be the take of...
absolutely. Yes. I think we take the view that traditional farming practices and knowledge of ecosystems complement, if you like, modern scientific knowledge and so on. In the chapter that deals with the AfCFTA, that looks at the different protocols, one of the protocols is on intellectual property rights, and under that protocol, we make a case for traditional knowledge, community knowledge as intellectual property that needs to be protected. So exactly the point that you're making. Farming has become very complex. I'm seeing some literature that is suggesting that farming is now as complex as manufacturing, because you need to understand the soil, the composition of the soil, the chemistry, the amount of water, irrigation, and so on, and and of course the particular crops and varieties and all these things. And there's a lot of traditional knowledge on this. So it is harnessing this knowledge, and of course where modern science can provide insight, it is to see how to complement the two. There are other issues we did not explore in the book because we cannot touch on everything, and we have to put boundaries, but this also touches on the question of organic farming. And the extent to which you want to protect your systems, in going organic, or the extent to which you want to use inputs and operate on the basis of scientific discoveries and so on. So, these are issues that I don't see any sort of policy positions being taken by African countries, but I think it's one that needs to be addressed. Maybe in your research is something you could look into. Europe, as you know, is very wary of genetically modified products. So, it's not a policy that they are promoting in Europe as opposed to the US. African countries don't seem to have a clear view on this, and I think that's an omission that needs to be looked at. But as I said, we did not consider this as such, but it touches on this issue that you raised.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I'm going to try to just make my own comment of what I think is the target audience of this book. But you can ask the question, Mr. Dave. So I think this book, it actually has an interdisciplinary appeal, but I want journalists to read this so that they inform people the kind of research that is coming out of this. I want students in colleges to read this. I want members of parliament. I want people in congresses and in parliament to have this kind of knowledge.
Thank you so much. Probably the last question that I have for you, Professor David Luke, is what is the target audience of this book who will greatly benefit from having this knowledge? Explain why.
Well, as Anotida has just said, I think all of these categories that he outlined, the target audience, we were very deliberate in ensuring that the language of this book is easy to follow, where it's jargon-free, is written in a deliberate, simple style, newspaper style that is very easy to follow. So we were targeting, policymakers, indeed the media, students, of course, stakeholders, people who are campaigning on hunger. So this book is for everyone, because we thought that this issue, the first point I made, that we should not normalize hunger. It is not something that is acceptable. So we do need to be focused on overcoming this scourge that face so many millions of Africans. There's, as we said, enough food on the planet. Africa has so much potential. According to the FAO data, 60% of the world's arable land is in Africa. So really, this is a book that can be used as a campaigning tool for change.
Absolutely. And just something to highlight, Dr. Chikumbu, Professor David Luke said we should not normalize hunger, and I find that really profound, in as much as the whole central argument of the book is concerned. And I should say, before we conclude this, what has been a very enlightening, illuminating discussion, that it is quite significant that, like what Professor David Luke just mentioned, that 60% of arable cultivatable land exists in Africa, yet Africa imports food more than it exports. That's kind of paradoxical, and that really needs unpacking, and it's very important that this book does touch on that.
Thank you so much, Mr. David, for those remarks. Viewers and listeners, we are very happy that you joined us on this special episode of the book series. We were just discussing a new publication from the London School of Economics Press. This book is entitled How Africa Eats: Trade, Food Security and Climate Risks. Please do not forget to click the link that is right in the description panel on the upload for this video. This book is open access, so it means that it is free for you to download. Professor David Luke, thank you.
And thank you too, Anotida, and my namesake, David. I think it's been a great conversation.
Nice.
Thank you so much.